You're listening to the Weekend Show podcast with Ken Kidney. Download every Sunday at soundcloud.com/The Weekend Show.
We're going to run down the film that was Spectre in detail in just a moment. But Gar, what were your impressions of Spectre? Before you get started, we should enlighten our listeners. We're going to avoid ruining the movie because it is quite new, so that would not be very nice of us.
Yeah.
But there, for those of you who haven't seen it yet, but this review will contain some minor spoilers and plot points, so you have been warned.
Spoilers, Bond is in it.
Oh, God. Gar?
Wouldn't it be great if there was a Bond film that didn't have Bond in it?
Yeah.
It's just like Q and M and like Odd Job, just going about their business.
It's like a James Bond spin-off.
Yeah.
What happens at the 00 program when James Bond isn't around.
Because Daniel Craig followed through on his promise to slit his wrists when they got him to do another one.
That's dark.
Yeah, that's what he said, though.
Yeah, but then he kind of went back on it.
He'll do another one. Guaranteed
We'll
he'll
talk
do
more
another
about that later, but he kind of, when he was asked on Graham Norton, he said, I don't know what to think about it right now, but he was less suicidal about it. More
less
kinda
suicidal.
More like, we'll see.
Oh, it's such a burden being James Bond.
But Gareth Spectre?
I have to try and avoid saying Skyfall because the title is close enough to Skyfall that you accidentally say it every so often.
I do as well. I must admit I do say it on occasion.
Because I was going with Brother Ed, and he was buying the tickets, and he was like, make sure I don't say Skyfall. So all the way down, I was just like, Skyfall, 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 Skyfall.
Did he say Skyfall?
No, he said Spectre.
Oh.
I was very disappointed. It's a really good Bond film.
Yeah.
It's about as formula as you get, but nearly all Bond films are.
But that's what you want from it, surely.
Yeah, more or less.
But I thought it gave you this kind of the nods to the previous Bond films and, you know, the kind of tropes and traditions that you're used to, but it wasn't overpowering.
Yeah.
It didn't kind of take over the film. It kind of, they integrated it nicely into the plot. So you're like, oh, that's kind of funny. But it kind of moved on. It didn't dwell on it. So I think Sam Mendes has kind of struck a very good balance between the gritty realism and the kind of cool new Bond, but also the kind of campness and nod and a wink and tongue in cheek and all those other cliches.
Yeah, there's a scene at the very start where a building is collapsing and he just falls conveniently into a chair.
Yeah,
that kind of campiness.
And it's a little chuckle, and then and it moves on to the kind of more serious bits.
Chasing through a square.
Because one of the criticisms I could have for Casino Royale and Quantum of Solace, and don't get me wrong, I really love Casino Royale. I think it's probably still nearly his best Bond film. Skyfall is also very close, but they deliberately made it gritty and realistic and like dispensed with all the gadgets and other characters trying to be like no, this is different now. We don't, and like
Q wasn't even in it.
Like I can understand why they wanted to establish it as something different if you're going to reboot it, but I also don't like the fact that they kind of just erase the history, and because as I said, that's what people look for. They like the kind of the traditions, and I know they're kind of convenient plot points and tropes and characters, but they make it what it is.
Yeah, and Sam Mendes, especially with Skyfall is a thorough embracing of Bond history. Exactly. And this has a lot of that in there as well.
Interestingly, Ian Fleming only saw one James Bond film, the first one, Dr. No.
Yeah.
And he hated it.
Good.
And he hated Sean Connery. But he was alive during the making of From Russia with Love, so eventually he kind of met Sean Connery and warmed to him, and he was much happier with the direction of the second film, and his Scottish heritage and Skyfall and all that was written retroactively as an acknowledgement of Sean Connery being a good Bond because he's Scottish.
He's a very good Bond.
Isn't that a nice tidbit of information?
That is a nice fun fact.
But getting back to Skyfall, let's break it down.
Spectre.
Damn it! I did it.
You did it.
You planted it in my brain.
I did.
You planted it in my brain. Let's get back to that. So from there's usually if you're talking about the formula, it starts with an opening sequence, which is quite
the opening set piece.
Yeah,
like the free running in Casino Royale, or the kind of train scene in Skyfall, that big opening action sequence.
Yeah. So basically it's him pursuing an assassin who he's trying to kill. Basically, he's in Mexico for I've said this in a recent podcast as well. I'm gonna do my lovely pronunciation again. Dia de los Muertos.
That's tomorrow, isn't it?
No, it's in May, I think.
Is it? I think you're thinking of Cinco de Mayo in May.
No, sorry. Yeah, that's yeah.
I think Dia de los Muertos, as I butcher it, is the 3rd of November.
Yeah, it's Mexican Halloween basically.
I think, which was the day this podcast will drop.
So yeah,
we're slightly late this week, but that's my fault. Sorry.
Yeah, so get over it.
Heckle me on Twitter.
I think it's like I thought was one of the things that gave me a little chuckle was that basically Bond is disguised for the first while, and then he reveals himself, and it does that little Bond riff.
I love it. I love that.
Yeah, did you notice it?
And then away he goes.
Yeah. So and like that bit, that thing where he wasn't really doing parkour, but he's kind of free walking.
Yeah, free walking. That's it. It's like the more casual version of free running.
But like this really cool tracking shot where he was just kind of he goes out of the window of his hotel and goes off to kind of pursue this assassin and take him out with a sniper. But he's walking on the roof of the buildings, and like there's like 500 extras that were brought in for this scene because like obviously the streets of Mexico are full for this festival, and like just the backdrop of like the people blissfully unaware of what he's doing, going about their business, and him walking along rooftops as they follow him. I thought that was a really cool shot.
If Spectre is one thing and one thing only, it's extraordinarily stylish.
Oh yeah, like one of the things I was thinking about, because I knew we were going to talk about it on the podcast, one of the words that I described it when I was kind of walking out was like, that was a stylish Bond film, and it's absolutely amazing the way it's shot. It's gorgeous.
Yeah, like every shot is beautifully framed. It's just like exquisite to look at times. It's just like well done. Well done for creating something that's not just here's things exploding, spies, pew pew, sex with ladies. Done.
Exactly, because like it does follow the formula, but it is very much plot driven. It has its set pieces with the fight scenes, and it has the big opening sequence. This has been shown on the press junket, so I don't think it's a spoiler to say that he basically has a fight in a helicopter, but basically it's a fight to the death, while the pilot is trying to
stop the thing from crashing, and he's trying to knock the guy out of the airplane, and
it is pretty spectacular. Just the sheer scale of the extras and everything, the way it's shot, and the kind of suspense of the helicopter thing, a little bit unrealistic, I would think, but
it's Bond. Who cares?
Exactly.
I don't like people who give out about realism in films. It's fiction. I don't care about realism.
But it is very suspenseful, as in you can feel the actual dread and kind of suspense of like if I was up there like teetering off in a helicopter,
I'd just be freaking out.
It's just like exactly, and they're just like beating each other up, trying to knock each other out, and they're just like, this is a normal day at the office, whereas it's like, this is not normal. This is like I'd imagine I'd just be like,
just freaking out, just screaming, screaming and falling out of the helicopter in pure panic,
and it's like clinging on to things instead of actually trying to fight Daniel Craig. I'd be like,
just take me in,
don't kill me. But, and obviously the end of this sequence leads to the title sequence, which as well as the theme song, many people look forward to, because it is one of the traditions in Bond films to have a trippy title sequence.
Yep.
What did you make of it, Kerr?
It made the theme song better.
It did make the theme song better,
because the Sam Smith theme song is mediocre.
And one of the things it did that other successful ones did, it actually told the story of the film but didn't spoil it, obviously.
Yeah.
In the 3-minute sequence for the song, it actually kind of showed the story of the film, or it set up the plot. It kind of give you visual clues as to of the journey you'd be taking. And some people might think that's spoilerish, but I think it's kind of cool.
It's only spoilers in retrospect, which is very good design.
Yeah,
that's well written. Something you don't realize until after it happens is not a spoiler. It's not like you went, I know everything that's going to happen in this film right now. You've ruined it.
Yeah, it has your typical naked ladies, naked Daniel Craig as well.
Yeah.
We won't say too much about it because it is a visual feast, so I don't want to spoil it. But it is something to look forward to at the start of a Bond film.
It always is,
because it's like a little side treat in itself. And like one of the things I enjoy, I don't know why, like James Bond films always open the same way with the
turn to the camera and shoot
the circle, and the title sequence always opens the same way. It says the whatever presents Daniel Craig as Ian Fleming's James Bond, and like they always do it the same way, and like that kind of tradition. I always enjoy like that with long running franchises.
Continuity.
Yeah, it's like this is a James Bond film. It is an official James Bond film.
Yeah. So we had 2 Bond girls.
We did.
We had an older one who was there for a moment and then disappeared entirely.
Monica Bellucci, who at 51 is the oldest Bond girl ever, I believe.
I dispute that.
Go ahead.
Skyfall. Judi Dench.
We just got Dench, Gary.
Yeah, she's the Bond girl in that film. Yeah. Not really officially, but she's the Bond girl. Like there is one kind of throwaway Bond girl in there, isn't there? Yeah. When he's in like China.
Yeah.
She's not the Bond girl. Judi Dench is the Bond girl of that film.
She gets killed, doesn't she?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a kind of a driver of the plot of Spectre.
Yeah.
She's in it ever so briefly.
She is.
Do you think she got paid for that?
She probably,
she's there as a video clip on a screen for literally 5 seconds, and then her picture's in it later.
She is credited on IMDb, so
she got paid.
Well, she might have done it as a favor, I guess, but
still probably got paid.
Like probably a what do they call it? A SAG.
The SAG rate.
The SAG rate or something like that. But we had Monica Bellucci, who was basically kind of a footnote to kind of drive the story forward.
She disappears altogether. They're always like, "Oh, you're gonna get me killed," and then he just goes away, and she's never seen again.
Basically, he seduces her to get what he wants, sleeps with her, and then leaves her there to die. Basically,
we assume she dies because we never hear from her again.
Yeah, the main Bond girl in it is Leah Seydoux.
No idea.
Seydoux.
It's French.
Yeah, she's been. You might have seen her in things like Mission Impossible, Ghost Protocol, Inglourious Bastards, and The Grand Budapest Hotel. I really liked her. I thought she was feisty.
I thought she fell in love with him too easily.
That was another. We'll call it Bond trope. That's
it's just like, I look into your deep blue eyes and now I'm deeply in love.
It's like, I hate you, I'm resisting you, all of a sudden I'm in love with you because we've shared a trauma.
Yeah, didn't even bang him. It's not, well, she did eventually.
Yeah.
But it's like, no, I'm not going to bang you, and then banged him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But she was a bit more complex than other ones, I would say.
Was she? She had more of a story, I suppose.
She was kind of integral to the plot.
Yeah, but she was still there just to be like, I'm falling in love with you instantly.
Yeah. But I suppose she was like, there's not, like, I hate to say it, but like female roles, especially in Bond films, are
practically non-existent.
They aren't written very well, but she was made to be a little bit more opinionated and kind of competent than other Bond girls.
She only needed to be saved once.
Yeah, and she was able to hold her own.
Twice. She was saved when she was first found as well. Yeah. She only needed to be saved twice.
She was able to hold her own for the most part.
Yeah.
So yeah, but like she was a very nice looking lady. I always like the way that they choose except sometimes they choose bankers like Halle Berry and the like, but like they choose non-typical looking girls. I'm not saying anything about her look. I mean, you're
saying she's an uggo, Ken?
No, I'm not saying she's an uggo. She's
an uggo.
She's a gorgeous girl. But what I'm saying is they don't go for like a certain type of girl. They go for all different types of girls.
Yeah.
But moving swiftly on, like equally as anticipated as the Bond girl is the Bond baddie or the villain,
Christoph Waltz,
who played.
You can slightly spoil something, but we won't.
No, well, Spectre is from the classic novels and films, so it's not really a spoiler.
So we're not going to spoil it, Ken. It's a reveal toward the end of the film.
Yes, he plays Franz Oberhauser. That's the official word for now.
Yeah, who has a past with James Bond.
Yes, which is interesting. Basically, the plot of this film links all 4 of Daniel Craig's films.
Yeah.
And it wasn't the plan all along. It was a retroactive way of doing it. So like it all makes sense in the way they do it because all these people are terrorists and Spectre is a terrorist organization. So it's like it would make sense that they were all under the Spectre.
They were all in the spectrum of Spectre.
Good one, guy.
Yeah.
But but they kind of switch things around. Like Quantum of Solace, like Quantum was a terrorist organization of its own, and now in this film, it's a subsidiary of Spectre.
I can't remember anything that happened in Quantum. I remember not liking it.
Yeah.
But I can't remember anything that happened in Quantum.
2 impressions about that film, or 3. Didn't like it. It had no middle, and the only good thing about it was the theme song.
Yes, which we will probably talk about when we talk about Bond, the theme songs, in a moment.
Yeah. Well, we're going to stick to this theme song, and then in the next segment we'll kind of have a retrospective.
Yeah.
Just to let you know what the plan is. But what did you make of Christoph Waltz as a villain guy?
I like him. Because he's kind of quiet,
yeah,
as opposed to kind of over the top and like mustache twirling. I'm a villain. He's more like, I'm a bad guy. This is what I'm doing.
And slight spoiler here, but like Spectre as an organization was popped up multiple times in the books and the films. So they kind of established him as a villain that could come back.
Yeah,
which I don't like when they just kill off villains because it's unrealistic.
And more often than not, they bring them back anyway.
Yeah.
So just don't kill them off. It's insulting to the audience to kill these people off.
But he just kind of had like, and his motivation, which we won't reveal either, but it's like just like that's like quietly. You're just like a quiet psychopath. Yeah. You're just like this. Basically, he has daddy issues.
Yeah, it's just jealousy, basically.
Jealousy.
He's basically jealous of James Bond.
It's like,
so he wants to kill him and everything he stands for.
And that's like, in some ways, you could say that's kind of thin, but it's simple. It's just like, I hate you. I'm jealous of what you have and what you've taken from me.
So I'm going to kill you.
Yeah.
And not just kill you, kill everyone around you.
So Christoph Waltz gets the thumbs up. He is one of the actors of the moment, so I think it was kind of a shrewd move and a move that will kind of bring in a lot of gravitas to it. Because, he is a double Oscar winner in recent years. Mm-hmm. We have 2 other villains, side villains as such. We have Dave Bautista.
Dave.
Or Batista, if some people know him, as Mr. Hinks.
He speaks one word in the whole film.
Yeah.
I remember him talking about how he doesn't just, choose roles. He wants a deeper character. He is a lug for hire who follows Bond around, occasionally gets in fight scenes, and then is gone eventually. Says one word.
Yeah,
deep character.
When he exits the film, let's just say, I thought it was quite unceremonious. It's like, is that it?
Yep.
I know he encountered him like 2 or 3 times before that, but it's like, oh, just kind of.
Bye, Dave. See you next time.
Yeah, I think I think he's well able to speak in films. I think it's kind of like I don't know if that's a deliberate choice, but I think that the time of the kind of quiet assassin henchman is gone. It is
this won't do nearly as much for his like acting credibility as Guardians of the Galaxy did.
Yeah, I mean, like, this should be a big thing for his career, but in the end, he's kind of a footnote in it.
This is Kevin Nash and the Punisher,
Yeah,
it's just that big guy there to throw in fight scenes and look scary.
Yeah, but it is a big coup for him. But I don't know, as you said, how much has it done for him that he just didn't. I don't know. I'm not saying he had to have lots of lines, but it just would have made sense for him to speak. I don't know what was the choice behind him not speaking.
I don't know.
But apparently he said in interviews that's the reason he got the job. That's what Sam Mendes was looking for. But I think it's a bit of a cliche at this stage.
Well, the next one is a spoiler, though. I look at my script. The next person you're going to mention is a villain. That's a spoiler.
It is a spoiler. But back when the casting was made, he was mentioned as being brought on as a villain.
Still a spoiler.
We will withhold it.
We will.
Okay.
I'm a very nice person when it comes to spoilers.
But this final villain, I don't think he was very consequential at all.
No, not at all. He was kind of there for a while and then disposed of quite easily.
Yeah, and not nearly as used. This person, I will say, and I'm not going to say who he is, as you said, Garo. It's funny. It's hard to review a film without kind of spoiling it, but we're succeeding sort of so far. This person had the chops to be a villain on his own. I think
he's known for playing villains. He's played a very famous villain.
He's just not of any consequence, and he's just like a side afterthought. Again, an afterthought. So
yeah,
I think in one sense I can see what they're doing with that, because you can't have like 3 villains. You can't.
Christoph Waltz is the villain.
Yeah,
the rest are just pawns in his game.
Yeah, you can't take away from him as such by having too many kind of big players. But I don't think it did anything for either people.
No, not really.
So let's talk.
Is this going to be his last one, do you think, Ken?
I don't know. This is the most ambitious one they've ever done. I mean, they've gone to how many locations? London, Rome, Austria, Morocco, Mexico. They've gone big with it. Is this gonna have like a last hurrah, like giving it everything, or is it just trying to top Skyfall because it was so successful? As I said, it's not a spoiler, but this ties together all his plots.
And he rides off into a sunset a little at the end.
Yeah,
but that's kind of every Bond film.
Yeah, but not recently. There's kind of like especially Casino Royale to Quantum, they've left things hanging in the air.
Yeah, like Casino Royale, they killed her off in the end. He was very depressed.
Yeah, so if he wasn't to do another one, it would be a good place to leave it because they did tie everything together. Yeah. And they did kind of, as you said, send him off on his little bit of a happy ending, as happy as Bond can have, I suppose. Yeah. But it's, I mean, basically, it all depends how this one does, I suppose, because they'll be desperate for him to do it if it has the same kind of effect.
Well, it's already broken records in the UK.
£40 million in its opening week.
Yeah, it's done 80 million internationally. It's not out in the US for another week, I don't think.
This week, I think.
Is it this? Yeah, this end of this week.
So the gross is 80.3 million so far, based on a 300 million budget, which ties it for the most expensive film ever made.
Until Batman comes out.
That's
Batman and Superman is currently touted to be the most expensive film ever made.
It's tied with Pirates of the Caribbean on Stranger Tides at the moment, so it is a huge investment.
Yeah,
like if you're talking the kind of rule of thumb of getting one and a half times the what it costs, so it's about 450 before you get kind of profit. That's a lot of tickets.
And no Bond film prior to Skyfall ever brought in more than $500 million worldwide.
Yeah.
So Skyfall was like this monster hit, but the rest of the Bond films have all been very successful, but they've been more modestly successful.
But can you attribute that to higher ticket prices?
I don't know. Well, it made 1.1 billion, so it doubled the previous success rate. So Skyfall did very, very well.
But one thing we're going to talk about in our Bond retrospective shortly is that it has been the franchise has been victim to many rights issues over the years.
Yeah,
and possibly I think one of the reasons Skyfall was so successful because it was like 2008, like it was 4 years in the making, so there was a lot of anticipation. There was the 50th anniversary around it. So it had a lot going for it, a lot of attention towards it, and it was very, very good. So it lived up to the hype. So, and they had the buzz around the Adele theme song and everything like that. So I just don't think it's gonna to reach that height again. I think it'll be successful, but I think it'll run out of steam quicker somehow.
I think Skyfall. It doesn't quite have the same word of mouth as Skyfall.
Skyfall
was a better film.
Skyfall had a very long run as well.
Yeah.
Theatrically.
This film is a very good Bond film. It's not like a top quality must see film. Yeah. Like Skyfall was.
Yeah. So I think I think Daniel Craig will probably be tempted to do another one, but I don't think if he does do another one,
the next one's his last.
Yeah, he won't do another one after that. So I'm pretty sure he's contracted for another one, but he, like, the way he talks and the way they kind of did it in the film, it could make sense for him to kind of call it a day here.